Hey, what's up, guys? You're listening to a Fictron interview. This is Béla Ogier, and today I'm joined by prolific GoAnimator Luke, aka GoTube. So, welcome to the show, Luke.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be on here.
Once upon a time, our teacher said, "You never break the rules that we define." But times are changing now, let's look ahead. It's time for us to read between the lines.
So, how long have you been a part of the GoAnimate community? And follow up, how long have you been creating GoAnimate content since?
Since about, I'd say, 2016. July 2016 is when I joined. However, I've had a lot of different channels over the years.
So, when did you start making content yourself?
Yeah, so I started making content almost immediately when I joined, like July of 2016. Like I joined in early July, I started making content towards the end of July.
That's cool. So it really spoke to you just immediately, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. And the reason why it did is because, and this is how a lot of people get into the GoAnimate community, I didn't have a computer at the time because it broke. All I had was a Chromebook. And obviously you're very limited when you have a Chromebook. And when you see an application like GoAnimate that's completely online, you don't need to download anything. It's compatible with a Chromebook. So it's very attractive for something you can spend your time with, right? Because you want to do bigger and better things, but sometimes you're limited and sometimes that's all you got, right?
Yeah, you make the most with what you have. Very true.
Yeah.
So how did you discover GoAnimate, and did you discover it during its rise in popularity, or was it still kind of an untapped source? Was it still kind of obscure when you discovered it?
Well, I would still say that GoAnimate is pretty obscure today, and except in certain subsects of the internet. I'd say it was kind of at its peak when I discovered it in 2016. I think it's more popular now, but it just seems like the community was more lively then.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I guess it is still obscure now that you mentioned it. It's just, I guess maybe I'm an unfair example because I have become just absolutely fascinated with GoAnimate over the past 5 or 6 years or so. So I just see it everywhere.
Yeah, it is very interesting. It's a very interesting community.
What would you say are the biggest appeals? I guess you already mentioned the just being able to use it online anytime if you don't necessarily have other resources. But are there any other major appeals of using GoAnimate, and anything that you say stands out about it as compared to other web media?
Well, I don't know what it is about it. I have my own little theory about why the YouTube algorithm treats GoAnimate videos so well. But you can make the most horrible videos in 5 minutes and you'll still get 10,000 views within a month. I've done it several times. I ran test algorithm channels. That's how I have my main channel, because I made one video on it, the GoTube channel, forgot about it for months, and I checked back, it has over 1 million views.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
What's your theory about why the YouTube algorithm treats it so well?
Okay, so I'd say about 10 years ago, YouTube implemented an update where they would start promoting content that was longer, 10 minutes, right? Around that area. That's why everyone makes their videos 10 minutes now. But people in the animation community in general were not happy about that because animation takes a lot longer to make and it's typically a lot shorter, so it wasn't really fair to them, right? So my theory was that YouTube artificially boosted how well animation content did. Which that's why animation videos still get so many views on YouTube now, even though they are not really that competitive in the YouTube market sphere. However, GoAnimate videos are incredibly easy and short to make. They still take a lot of time, but they don't take nearly as much time with real animation. So you can create a lot of animation very quickly and still get a lot of views. So my theory is that since YouTube is boosting animation videos in general, it also applies to GoAnimate videos, which are a lot easier to make.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that sounds very plausible, actually. Because, yeah, you're right, that YouTube does tend to boost. I see, random animators on YouTube's front page all the time. So
right.
I guess it would just go without saying, if it's boosting that, then of course it would boost whatever animations are coming out in sort of bulk like that.
Exactly.
It also kind of reminds me of, with regards to it being sort of a simpler, more rudimentary kind of software that doesn't take as much time as traditional animation. It reminds me of, I used to make these slideshow movies in the version of KidPix I had. You could create slideshows in KidPix and I would have text-to-speech voices, much like GoAnimate. And I mean, it was just fun. And I think if I was a bit younger around the time that I discovered GoAnimate, I think I would have absolutely been right there, honestly.
Honestly, you probably would have. A lot of people just, get into it. It's almost like a community where you're in, you can't get out. It really is like that.
There's just something very liberating about just being able to make something and not necessarily having to like spend years and years getting really good at it. You can just make it.
Exactly.
So I did a lot of research into GoAnimate as a company. So I used the Wayback Machine to see what it was like back in the day, and I found that their original goal was to basically democratize animation, make it accessible for anyone, even those who didn't necessarily know how to animate. So I found it really hypocritical that they eventually did go premium and started like charging for people to use it. Do you have any insights or speculations as to why they might have shifted to this business model?
Well, the community guessed like this kind of stuff for years, but recently we had an employee of Vyond, or GoAnimate, it's Vyond now, who said something on Twitter. Some weird gimmick Twitter account posted a GoAnimate video, and I guess one of the employees saw it, and he replied to it saying, we tried to get rid of this stuff for years. So me and my friend Rack Animate, we questioned him and asked him, like, okay, why did you do this? And he gave us a little insight. Basically, back then, when GoAnimate made everything, pretty much everything was free. Like, there was some stuff you could buy, microtransactions, whatever. But everything was pretty much free. You could make a video, you could do whatever you wanted. There was a lot of cool stuff. But basically, how GoAnimate worked back then, in the early 2010s, late 2000s, as you know, the internet was a lot less developed at the time, and so there was a lot more like little websites. Like, you remember all the little forum boards before like Reddit. You could go on any forum board you wanted for a specific topic. There's a lot of those, right?
Yeah.
GoAnimate was kind of the same, where you would make a video and then you would publish it on their website and you could watch other GoAnimate videos. It was kind of like YouTube, but for GoAnimate videos.
I did see that, yeah. I saw like some old thumbnails and it was like, oh, so this was a whole blog, a whole forum. It wasn't just like the software itself. You could actually share this stuff on there.
Yeah, it was like a social media. But over time, people stopped using the website as much, and they started just publishing their videos on YouTube. And according to that guy who used to work at Vyond, or GoAnimate, he said that it wasn't lucrative, it wasn't profitable anymore for people to buy the subscription than just post the videos on YouTube and not really do anything on the website. And there was also just their whole company started to get made fun of by the internet, because you would go on there and you would see like grounded videos out of like Caillou, and like grounded videos out of real people too. Like sometimes people would ground like their parents and like, you know, their mom, and just weird stuff.
Right.
And so eventually GoAnimate got tired of this, and they said they were going to start taking down the grounded videos on their website, but they actually never went through with that for some reason. So after that, they just kind of said, you know what, we're done with this. And they started like just getting rid of like everything. They started taking, first they took down the social media, then they took down some of the old text-to-speech choices people use, then, you know, the old themes, until you basically only have the infographic looking ones. Then they removed Flash entirely. They didn't kill it immediately. It was a long years process of them just taking down everything until it, well, is what it is now.
That answers my next question. Do you believe that they were trying to distance themselves from the GoAnimate community?
Yes. The guy said that they tried to get as far away from that kind of community as possible, wanted to completely reinvent themselves. And, I mean, even the original CEO, the guy, Alvin Hung, who said he wanted to make animation for everyone or whatever, he stepped down as CEO, and his friend Gary Lipkowitz took over as CEO, and he's the one who made all the decisions to change the company name to Vyond and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, I found on the GoAnimate wiki page, I actually found like an official, quote, official anti-Alvin Hung like t-shirt that you can buy. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, there used to be a lot of hate for him because he was the CEO back when the stuff was originally getting moved. And then people hated him for a while, and then someone made up some rumor that he was poor and he had to get rid of the like all the stuff because he needed to pay for food for his family. And people believed that for years until, like, you know, people just came in and said that's just ridiculous. And then now no one really hates him. They're just kind of, you know, with him. But it was a weird roller coaster.
Definitely. When I first discovered the GoAnimate videos, and specifically these grounded videos, like the Caillou gets grounded videos, I couldn't tell. I genuinely could not tell at first if they were meant to be ironic or if they were sincere or like a mixture of both. Is there like a general consensus on how GoAnimators feel about their own work, or would you say it's widely different across the board?
It is widely different. Like, you can have someone like Itzik who completely knows what he's doing. All the stuff he makes is completely ironic, and, you know, it's just all for jokes and all that. But you can also have someone like, I don't know, just some random obscure person like Pepsi Yes Coke No, because that's a common username, the Yes No usernames, who's completely unironic. He thinks that Caillou is a bad boy, you should get grounded, usually like little kids and stuff like that who make that kind of stuff. So it's widely different across the whole community.
Yeah, and I guess that is the thing, is that it's so hard to tell sometimes, especially if it's some random GoAnimator who's like not very prolific and just has a few videos on their channel, you know?
The best way you can tell is by the way they type. If they type with title case, they are not being ironic. If they talk with, like, you know, perfect grammar or whatever, they probably are being ironic. It's not a 100% formula, but pretty good tip.
Okay, so if they have misspelled or poor grammar, then that's a good indicator that it's unironic.
Yes.
I'm gonna remember that when I watch GoAnimate videos in the future. So yeah, I've not found that many people outside the GoAnimate community trying to really analyze it, but the majority of those I have found, usually very small YouTubers who make like 10-minute videos on it. I find that a lot of the people like looking at it from the outside have been largely critical of GoAnimate both as a community and a medium. Are there any common criticisms you feel that outsiders have misinterpreted about it?
Well, there's a lot of criticism and hate for the community, and I can understand hating certain aspects of the community, but just hating it as a whole seems just like petty to me, because like usually the reasons are stuff like it's not because they say like the community is toxic or whatever. That usually comes from inside the community, but from outside, people usually just say stuff like, oh, it's not real animation, just make real animation, or something like that. But the truth is, most people who do this, again, don't have the resources to do that, or don't want to do that because they don't want to animate for many different reasons. They can just, you know, want to make funny, quick content, or they don't have the resources, like I said, like I did originally. So it can depend on a lot of things, but not everyone who uses GoAnimate wants to make animation, like real animations, if that makes sense.
Definitely. And it's just fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
I downloaded the Wrapper offline software actually with the help of your tutorial to like mess around with it a bit, and it's fun.
Yeah, it really is. And just for anyone who wants to try out the Wrapper offline software, just so you know, like the ownership of that project has been changed 3 times, so it can be a little bit buggy, but the new ownership is trying to fix up a lot of this stuff and clean house.
That's good to hear. And so I've seen like at least 1 or 2 GoAnimators I found who like had started doing traditional animation like on their channel as well. And so I think whether it's just something where people are content making GoAnimate videos because it's fun, or, you know, it does lead them to getting interested in other types of animation.
Oh yeah, it certainly does.
I think either scenario is good, you know. I think
for sure.
Both of that, it's like, you know, it's like you do you.
Exactly.
So about this Wrapper offline software, it was actually a direct rip, right, of an earlier version of the GoAnimate software during the wake of the Vyond shift when they were rebranding to Vyond and becoming more business-oriented. And so anyone can download and use this software for free. I was curious, though, how similar is it to the original GoAnimate software on the website back in the day?
It is similar and different in a lot of ways. So first, with Wrapper similarity, Wrapper offline similarities. So basically, Wrapper offline is, of course, offline. Besides the text-to-speech voices, which you have to pull from a server, it is almost all the way offline for pretty much all the files and everything, whereas GoAnimate was completely online. So that's already a difference. Wrapper offline has a lot more bugs than GoAnimate did, because GoAnimate was a professional company, whereas, you know, Wrapper offline is just a bunch of teenagers working on software. But with Wrapper offline, I think the biggest difference is that you can modify whatever you want in the source code, since it's open source, instead of in GoAnimate, which was completely proprietary. So you can, for example, if you want to give a character a custom shirt, you can design that in Adobe Flash and then actually put that on the character. You can make pretty much whatever you want. It's led to a lot of creativity, like a new rebirth of creativity in this community from the stuff people have been able to make. And the reason we were able to rip everything from Wrapper offline, so in 2019, pretty much everything had been removed from GoAnimate at this point. If you had an account previously, they had 2 video makers at the time. The legacy video maker, which was the one with Flash, and then the new video maker, which was the one made with HTML5. So on the old video maker, you could only use the the new themes like business friendly, the infographic looking ones. In the comedy world, the cartoony style, all those have been removed for years. And the only way you can get them back is by using a extension called Requestly, which is why you've probably seen that brought up before. You would use that extension on your Chrome or Firefox, and you would basically, in 2016, when they were removing all the old cartoony themes, someone by the name of GoPlushie ripped, because GoAnimate has really bad security. They did not do their stuff properly. They ripped the files from GoAnimate servers, put them on their own servers, and you can use Requestly to basically forward the files from GoPlushie server onto GoAnimate, which would bring back the old themes that were removed by GoAnimate. You were able to do this for years until they completely killed off the old video maker, and there was no way to do it at that point. So when they shut it down in December of 2019, they completely shut down the old video maker. There was nothing you could do. People thought the community was over. They thought, this is it. There's no way of getting it back. But there's a guy named Visual Plugin who basically took what he could from GoAnimate servers, and he went on to make a software called GoAnimate Wrapper. And he made GoAnimate Wrapper, and it was a pretty good software, but there were still a lot of issues because it was still, being developed. But it shut down fairly quickly because that he thought for some reason that it was against his religion or something like that. So he shut it down. However, then someone took his source code and made their own wrapper called GoAnimate Remastered. Then that got supposedly DMCA'd, although it's questionable if it actually did, because GoAnimate has taken no action against the software. And I mean, why would they? It's a, good way of getting us off their backs and not using their new software. And so once that got quote-unquote DMCA'd, someone made a program called GoAnimate for Schools Remastered. And these were basically just all clones of each other with different logos and stuff. And eventually, someone named Benson started a software called Wrapper Offline, which basically took the wrappers, GoAnimate Wrapper and the clones of it, which were, at the time, Wrapper was semi-online. The file servers, the assets, were all stored on a GitHub repository, but actually using the website and the player and all that was on your computer. But Benson ripped all the files from both Wrapper and the GitHub repositories to make Wrapper Offline, where everything was offline and anyone could use it. Eventually things did have to be updated, and Benson was not very active in the community. He came from a completely different place. No one really knows his true identity. So he gave the project to someone named Zomdigil, he just goes by the name Keegan now. But Keegan was a very bad developer. He had a lot of sloppy code. He did some good things, but ultimately people really didn't like his work because it just seemed like he rushed things. So then he gave the project ownership to someone named GoTest, who GoTest334. And a fun fact about GoTest334, he is named after the original servers that the GoPlushie guy had that ripped the files from GoAnimate and used Requestly. That's what he's named after, kind of in honor of it. So that's the story of Wrapper Offline.
Okay, and so if I'm understanding right, these wrappers were loopholes that people could make to basically bypass the restrictive nature of the new age GoAnimate website and still use the old themes as well as some custom ones?
No, that was Requestly. Wrapper was the software that people made to use after GoAnimate's old player had shut down. Requestly was the plugin used to bring back stuff. So Requestly is for, I'll try to make it simple. Requestly is for the GoAnimate site, when you could do that. Wrapper is for after the GoAnimate site, when it was a program.
Oh, okay. And why was it called Wrapper?
Now, we've asked Visual Plugin this a lot of times. He said it's hard to explain, but he said that he said the best way he could describe it is it wraps around the original GoAnimate server. It wraps it into a server, which makes it local hosts the server is the best way to put it, but he describes it as it wrapping around the server to create its own local thing. It's a computer term, so a lot of people don't understand it. Even I don't fully understand it.
I see though. It's like it's packaging it, wrapping it.
That's right.
That's interesting. Wow, there's no way, I don't think I ever would have uncovered that information just doing my own research. So thank you.
Right, no problem.
And of course, GoAnimate is basically like a sandbox tool that you can create any number of kinds of stories with, but I've noticed 4 like major genres of GoAnimate videos myself, which are the grounded videos in which a character misbehaves and gets in trouble, the ungrounded videos in which a character does something nice or behaves very well and a previous implied punishment is lifted, the punishment day videos, which are basically the characters enduring a number of like horrible tortures throughout the episode as punishment for, previous misbehavior.
Right.
And then the one that really breaks the formula the most, I would say, is the behavior card day videos, which are like in a school setting and feature a number of characters getting different colored cards, as well as various punishments or rewards relative to how good or bad they were.
Right.
Are there any other major genres that I've missed that I just haven't come across?
I mean, there is a guy by the name of... he used to be called Canadian Scout. I think now he's called Canadian. He makes videos that are like, they're not any of those. They're not Caillou. They're not any of those characters, not getting grounded. He just makes like actual like stories. Like that's the best way I can put it. That's the best way I can describe it. He just makes stories with his GoAnimate videos. It's really weird. He kind of breaks the formula of what everyone else does. He's been around so long that he has around 15,000 subscribers. And he makes really high quality videos for GoAnimate standards. So that's probably why he has so many subscribers. But the type of videos he makes don't appeal to the majority of the community, so he doesn't get nearly as many views. It really is like GoAnimate, there's pretty set formulas, but at the end of the day, you can really make whatever you want.
Definitely. And so with regards to these formulas, there's many popular brand name characters that have made appearances in GoAnimate media. What is it about Caillou in particular you feel has made him such a popular topic in the community?
Okay, so people used to make grounded videos that have, they're basically OCs. Like if you look up a guy's channel named GML394, he's been in the community for over 10 years. And back then, people just made videos about like, their OCs, like Eric gets grounded or something like that. It was his own characters. However, I think around 2013 or 2014, another long-time GoAnimator named African Vulture, you can't find the video now because she deleted all of her videos due to some stuff with demonetization. But she was the one who originally started the Caillou Gets Grounded series. And I think her videos have actually appeared on that guy Pyrocynical's channel before. And that's what really got the community a lot of attention in 2016 was that video that Pyrocynical made on African Vulture. But she made Caillou Gets Grounded, and I guess it kind of took off after there. But I think what made it popular is not only, her introducing it and already being a well-established GoAnimator, but just the fact that so many people that watch GoAnimate videos, they have this sort of mentality where they want to see, like, the bad guy get punished. They want to see the good guy save the day or whatever. So Caillou is seen, you probably have heard the show is like, he's a brat in the show, parents don't like it.
Oh, yes.
That type of stuff. So people thought he deserves to be punished, he deserves to be grounded instead of getting away with everything. They kind of have that like, just feeling that that's what they want. So they make it, they watch it, and it's like, they like it because like they're getting what they want, and they also can think it's a funny video.
Yeah, I suspected as much, honestly. I'm very familiar with the original source material for Caillou, and I guess, yeah, if you want to make content where you have someone as a stand-in, as an easy target to basically just get their just desserts constantly, it's like, what better character to use than Caillou, really?
Exactly. It's not so much that way anymore, but it used to be. There is something that happened with Caillou. So as the years went on, people started to get more and more and more violent with like the punishments Caillou got, like pretty gruesome stuff for GoAnimate videos. And I guess the community got angry at that for some reason, and they started to consider it abuse for some reason. Now, I think that's stupid. Most people do. However, there's still a lot of people who the community refers to as Caillou fanboys that hate the Caillou Gets Grounded series. They will dislike it if they see it. So that's why so many people who make videos now don't make Caillou Gets Grounded anymore. They make Caillou Gets Ungrounded because there's so many people out there who just don't like the videos anymore because you think it'd be, it gets old after a bunch of years, but no, it's not. Stuff in the community for some reason can never get old. It's because they think that, he's good now, he got too many punishments. We have to give him a break now. Stuff like that.
Yeah, I had been wondering about that because, like, with all the ungrounded videos that started popping up definitely after the grounded videos, it did seem to me that, like, Caillou was starting to become a sympathetic character to a lot of people.
Right,
That, like,
that's
they
what
just
happened.
seen him through so much, and that, like, yeah, I could definitely see that. And yeah, I saw something about like people comparing it to like abuse myself, and I had basically the same reaction. I was like, I think that's kind of a stretch to say that having these sort of kind of juvenile like animations of a fictional character getting tormented. I think it's kind of a stretch to like compare that to actual abuse.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why, most people don't think that. But like I said, there's still a large minority of what we consider Caillou fanboys, what we call them, who will still attack people for making those types of videos, which is why most people avoid them. But most people don't think like that, which is good.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, it's like any other community. It's got its good sides and bad sides.
Exactly.
So with the GoTube channel, what would you say is your personal approach to creating GoAnimate videos, and what like sets you apart from other GoAnimators?
Okay, well, since I've been on the software for years, I'm not gonna like brag, but like, cause this is GoAnimate, but I do tend to make my videos like higher quality than the typical GoAnimate video, and people say that a lot. So I think that's one of the things that attracts people. But one of the things about GoTube, now it isn't like this anymore, but it used to be, but people used to not put thumbnails on their GoAnimate videos, and me and my friend Brent Animate on our original channels, Luke Animate and Brent Animate, were the kind of the first ones to put thumbnails on our videos, and then everyone started, like copying us and putting thumbnails on their videos too. So since I've been making GoAnimate thumbnails for so long, longer than anyone else, I've kind of gotten the formula down to how to make an attractive, clickable thumbnail for people to click on. And so I think that's what attracts people. Another thing that I put is, I found this idea, basically, I found a video a really long time ago.
Are you talking about the hidden cakes?
Yes, that. So my original channel a while ago was called Luke Animate, which had kind of been dying at the time in 2018. Like, I kind of messed it up by switching content a bunch of times and deleting videos and uploading random videos. It was kind of dying. So I decided I was kind of on my way out of the community because, there was no point to stay at my channel. I'm just going to continue to decline despite me making some of my favorite videos in 2018. So I started a channel called GoTube, which was basically a combination of the words GoAnimate and YouTube into one. And so I started the channel. I made 3 videos, but one of them was only a real video. I made a channel trailer. I made a tutorial on how to create my avatar. And then I made a actual video. Now, the video isn't up on my channel anymore. It got taken down for some reason. I don't even know why. There's nothing wrong with it. But it was basically just a video where... Now, I was trying to make the most appealing, clickable, attractive GoAnimate video possible with, like, precise tags and titles and description, everything, to try to make it like the most algorithm catching video possible. And it was a video where basically Caillou gets bullied by a character named Bob, who I use a lot now. And he gets bullied by Bob, and he stands up to Bob, and Bob gets caught, and Bob gets grounded, and he gets ungrounded or whatever. So I made that, and I forgot about the channel for months. Like, I just forgot about it. It was just a simple test I made for the algorithm, right? And then when I was deleting a bunch of my old channels I didn't need anymore, I saw GoTube, which had 8,900 subscribers, and my Luke Animate channel only had 5,000 at the time. So I'm like, wait, is this a glitch? And I click on it, I see the one actual video I made on there has over 1 million views, and I'm just like, whoa, what? So then I kind of switched GoTube to be my main channel, and I started just continually making content until where I am today.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that your videos are very polished by comparison to a lot of GoAnimate content.
Right.
I have noticed the thumbnails and, of course, the hidden cake, which is like a fun way to keep people engaged with the video, I guess.
Right. And I'm glad people enjoy it, and I guess it worked. I actually took that idea. I wouldn't say I stole it, but I definitely would not have done it on my Luke Animate channel just because I didn't feel like that. Like, I didn't want to take someone else's idea. But since it was a test channel, I was just using it to see how it would affect the algorithm. But once you do it once, you can't go back on it.
Oh, sure. But in fairness, a lot of people have done similar kinds of hide-and-seek type stuff on videos. Like, that's a pretty old thing at this point,
yeah,
I'd say.
For sure.
So in addition to the videos you've created on both of your channels, I know you also actually contributed your own add-on plugin to the Rapper Offline software called Mega Comedy World. What was the process of creating this plugin like, and what does it add to Rapper Offline that it was lacking prior?
Okay, so basically, I didn't actually create Mega Comedy World for Rapper Offline. I'll explain the story of that too. So in, I'd say early 2019, I created it as a Requestly plugin for the original GoAnimate site. So basically, in the original GoAnimate, you basically had your custom characters that you made and like stock characters made by GoAnimate. And there was a bunch of stuff turned off for some reason in GoAnimate's like settings, in their like index file in the XML, that's right, the XML file. There's a lot of stuff turned off. So I go on there and I look, and with my buddy Chase, we go ahead and look, and we find that a lot of the stuff is turned off. So I start turning everything on, and I'm also like, well, what if I add some GoAnimator? I add like a GoAnimator tab to the character section, so people don't have to, recreate all their favorite GoAnimators, especially mine, which is a hard character to create because of the hair design, like the little cyan thing that's really hard to make because like you need to like do this complicated process to make it. So I make it, and I add a bunch of GoAnimators like me, the Luke Animate character, Rack, GoTest, and a bunch of other people who basically sit in the GoAnimator section for people to use, as I said, for their favorite GoAnimator. And I also create a tab which is not used anymore called Submissions, where people would submit their own character to be added to Mega Comedy World. So I released Mega Comedy World 1.0 with GoAnimators added, stuff turned on, and submission characters added. And so that's added, and people start using it a lot because they really like it. It's like a better version of Comedy World theme. That's what the cartoony theme is called, Comedy World.
Right.
And I kind of forget about it because I kind of left the community in July until all the way in, I'd say March, because I needed a break from it for a while. And so when that happened, I didn't realize how popular it had become and how much people used it. And eventually, when Visual Plugin made his GoAnimate wrapper, he included my plugin in his wrapper, and that was obviously copied by everyone else and ported to Rapper Offline. So now it's just a core part of Rapper Offline. And I was like, you know what? Well, if it's been around and it's this popular now, I'm going to make a second version of it. So then I published Mega Comedy World 2, which had even more submissions and updated GoAnimators and stuff like that in it.
Okay. Is there anything I did not inquire about? Just something you'd like to share about it that you feel like should be shared?
Oh, sure. There's a new website coming out that's supposed to emulate everything about the old GoAnimate website called FLASHTHEMES. You can look it up on the GoAnimate wiki for anyone else who wants to hear it too. It's a bunch of developers, and I know they're legitimate because I've known them for years, and like they've actually made a lot of progress on this stuff. It's in beta testing right now, and I have access to it. It's called FLASHTHEMES, and it's going to completely emulate everything about the old GoAnimate website. A lot of the bugs in Rapper Offline are all fixed. So if you have used it before and you want to use it again, well, there you go. Like everything is brought back. It's really cool.
It's called FLASHTHEMES?
Yes, FLASHTHEMES.
That's awesome. I'll definitely be keeping my eye on for that.
Yeah. It's supposed to come out for open beta sometime soon, like probably in the next few months, though don't count on me on that because there's no release date. But it is not open to the public right now. Not yet.
Okay. That's awesome, though. Yeah, I look forward to it. Like I said, I had a lot of fun just messing around in Rapper Offline. Rapper Offline is such a lifesaver, too, because when I was, like, looking into, well, I want to, like, actually try this software and look into it, and actually get a sense of how it works, I was at first looking at the actual, Beyond website, as it's called now, and it costs something like $50 a month.
Yeah, it's insane. Like,
it's ridiculous.
There's an enterprise version that's like $10,000 a year or something like that.
I mean, and I guess like people are using it because like they're still in business.
Yeah, I mean, people aren't using it for GoAnimate. It's mostly like other businesses that use it to create. Have you ever seen those like infographic videos on YouTube that like either explain like, it's for, college stuff?
Yeah.
Or like,
those are done in Beyond?
A lot of them are. A lot of them really are. And there's also other channels that like make like have you seen the channels where it's like get your story animated or something like that? A lot of those channels use Beyond as well.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, that's interesting. I never would have guessed what It's such a deep rabbit hole with no end.
It really is.
Well, Luke, thank you so much for coming on the very first Fictron interview. Do you have any parting thoughts or some wisdom you'd like to impart to aspiring Go animators or artists?
Well, just know that you can do it. You just got to keep making content. You'll have that one video that blows up. And for anyone who wants to do it, feel free. Just look up Rapper Offline, or if you're watching this like a year from now, Flash themes, and go ahead and make whatever you want.
Well said. All right, Luke, it was a pleasure talking to you. You guys can check out Luke's channel, GoTube, and his GoAnimate tutorials channel as well. It's very informative. Check those both out. They will be in the description. And thank you for listening.
Thank you, too.